So here we are in the last video for our Welcome Teachers part of the roadmap. So far, we've thought about how we could welcome teachers to the year or to the quarter or the trimester or even the month by creating a coaching menu or a choice board that's driven from our coaching vision. We've talked about how we can welcome teachers to virtual rooms with virtual coaching office slides. And we've even talked about how to welcome teachers to a digital virtual learning community by rethinking the way we use typical tools like email. And now I want us to think about how we can welcome teachers to professional learning. Part of this work involves carefully thinking about our opening moves and our soft starts and preparing for them just as much as we would prepare for the content of the session to make sure we're really welcoming teachers into a learning community. Now, if we think for a minute about morning routines, what routines set us up for a successful rest of the day? What do you think research shows? What do you think professionals show is what our morning routines should look like? Now, it might not be what you think. I know for me, I thought I was killing the morning routine. I was getting up early, I was exercising, I was getting the kids lunch, I was cramming in some emails, I was sneaking in some extra work so that the rest of my day could be even more productive. But as I learned and I explored and I researched, it turns out that that is not what is important about a morning routine. In fact, a morning routine should be whatever fuels you up, whatever brings you joy, whatever sparks your creativity, whatever helps you feel good about self-care. That's what a morning routine is supposed to be. Get up a little bit early to read, to move your body, to learn something, to write. Do things that fill your cup so that the rest of the day you are fueled to fill up others. And so that was a huge shift for me, that I was doing the morning routine all wrong. And so if this kind of thing interests you, I'm going to link in our course to a blog post I wrote about the importance of a morning routine. But thinking about the morning routines just gets me started about opening routines in general. So this may be a morning routine for home. What's your morning routine for school? What's your morning routine for your kids? What's your routine for starting PD, for starting coaching cycles, and so on and so forth? So I really want to think about the routines we offer teachers, and for us, our version of a morning routine could be the opening moves of a professional learning session. And so that's what I really want to think about. What are opening moves? They're strategic moves, often placed somewhere on a presentation slide, that launches our professional learning sessions, that invites teachers into a soft start that eases them into the session. So these could be things to help teachers connect together. They could be things related to the content to get them started on reflection. They could be things completely unrelated to the content that are just plain old fun to think about, to connect with, and to form a community. And so some opening moves will invite reflection and connection. Some will simply bring smiles and laughter, which we know is so important. And then some will help us ponder content and process of whatever we're focusing on in our professional sessions. So here are a few of my favorites, and I've just lifted the pages directly from my coaching sketch notebook so that you can see some of the ways I like to start PD with some really carefully constructed opening moves. Now, the one on the left is one of my favorites. I like to take a few moments and ask teachers to set their intention for the session. Now, so often our intention is focused on the product. What do we want to do? What is our outcome? What will our deliverable be? I like to do the opposite. I like to ask teachers, how do you want to feel at the end of our session today? Not what do you want to accomplish? What do you want to have? How do you want to feel when you walk out the door? about yourself, about teaching, about your students, about the content. And then, what will you need to do in this session to help yourself feel that way by the time we're done? Do you need to turn your phone off and pay attention more? Do you need to take a deep breath and relax and decompress so that you can really engage? What do we need to do individually so that we can feel the way we want to feel when our session is over? And sometimes that means we might need to let go of something. Maybe it's a long-standing belief. Maybe it's a former alliance with a teacher that might distract you during professional learning. Who knows? But what do you want to feel? What do you need to do to feel it? And what might you need to let go of? I've got just a couple of feelings there that teachers might offer, but I found this works really well for challenging topics or for challenging teams of teachers, because it takes the focus off the product, off that something that might be stressful, and instead places it on the teacher and gives them a moment to just connect with themselves and have a little bit of ownership. Now, because I love writing, I also love to start with quick writes. Now, depending on your term for quick writes can be a couple of different things. But I like to just take 5 minutes and ask teachers to write their way into a session. Maybe I ask them to write all the words they can think of related to our topic for the day. Maybe I put up a fun picture prompt on the screen and ask teachers just to write whatever comes to mind to generate some creativity. I might put up a video or a podcast link for them to listen to and then simply write for some reflection. Maybe I have them write about something fun, their top 10 list, their favorite list, something that went well today so that they can decompress and find joy. Or maybe I'm having them write just to get a little inspiration. I love using Amy Krauss Rosenthal's textbook. Amy Krauss Rosenthal has some really great prompts that I use often in professional development, as well as Cleo Wade, who is a beautiful writer, and I often use her images, her graphics, and certainly her words to spark some writing in sessions too. It offers teachers 5 minutes to decompress, to ease in, to take a breath, and hopefully center their mind. I've got 2 more. The one on the left is one of my all-time favorites for when we're in person, and that is the table scatter. And I'm still putting it here because I think the table scatter can easily be translated to a virtual setting, which I'll show you in just a bit. But basically, I love to collect quotes, and I will print those quotes out. I will find quotes from magazines or articles or blog posts, and I keep a collection of them. And when I start PD sessions, I like to just scatter them around the room, just like the name says. And as teachers walk in, wherever they happen to sit, I just ask them while they wait, read, reflect on it, maybe write, maybe share your thought with someone next to you, and hopefully launch ourselves into some conversation to move us forward into the session. Now, I'm pretty strategic with the content that I put in the table scatter. If I'm working with teachers who I know have been having some challenging times, there's motivational quotes on the table. If I know I'm working with teachers who are eager to dive into a certain topic together, then I've got quotes related to that topic. So you can decide what you want to put on the table scatter, but it's a great way to help teachers waltz in to a soft start. And then the one on the right is one of my favorites, inspired by Debbie Miller, one of my literacy icons, idols, mentors. And she does this with her kiddos, where in the morning, instead of taking the traditional attendance and roll call, she will call out a student's name and ask the student to share something about their literate life from the night before. Did they read a book? Did they watch a movie with a family member? Did they play a game? Did they write a note? Did they create a chalkboard? Or did they create with chalk out on the driveway? What did they do? It's a way to get a glimpse into students' lives, and it's also a way to give students a bit of FOMO, right? So they want to have something to contribute, and so this often sparks a routine of doing some reading and writing at home so that they can share with the community. And the same thing applies to teachers. Now, I might not call out teachers' names round robin and ask them to contribute something, but I would ask for volunteers, or I'd give them a bunch of sticky notes and ask them to write something from their literate lives, a book they've read, something they've done, they've learned, they've listened to, and just stick it on a piece of chart paper. And if I want to go digital, we could do that on a Padlet wall as well. So those are some of my top ideas that come directly from my coaching sketch notebook. But here's some more. So this is a fun way. The one on the left is a popular meme that was going around social media. And I learned this from Frances Gonzalez Garcia, who did this in a session with us. And she likes to take popular memes and cover up the title and put that as an opening slide in a virtual PD and simply ask teachers to brainstorm in the chat box. What do you think the title would be? What could we caption this? It's usually fun, lighthearted, gets a laugh, and helps us ease into learning. Now, the actual title is Zoom meeting, audio only or with video. Now, starting with challenges is fun too, putting an opening slide up and while teachers are waiting, just challenging them to something. This is one of my favorites, where I challenge teachers to decipher book titles, book names from emojis. So these kinds of things are all over social media, and I like to curate them together. So one of my favorites is from the Chirp. If you're not a member of the Chirp, you need to press pause and you need to go to naturallife.com right now and sign up. Every morning, I get one of these beautiful quotes that you see on the left side of the screen every single morning that brightens me up. It fuels my coaching cup so that I can fuel others. So if you're not on there, definitely sign up because this will give you a whole bunch of starting points for opening slides. I've got two more resources that I want to share with you. One is a collection of quotes that I've started because I love quotes. And so I just come to my virtual collection and I'll pop one out and put it into the presentation I'm working on. So let me click on it just so that you can see. So every time I find one I love, I just put it in here. Train your mind to see the good in every situation. When everything is uncertain, everything that's important becomes clear. Are we in doing mode or being mode? You can't go back and change the beginning, but you can start where you are and change the ending. Those are just a sample of some of the quotes that I've collected. And so when I'm doing a professional development, I will just go to my collection and I'll pull one out and I'll paste it into the presentation so that teachers have something to consider as we wait for everyone to come in or we start the session together. Now I've got another collection going too. This is from my fantastic Coaching Through COVID community. We've got an amazing group of coaches that works together there. And we have a collection that we curate together. And whenever we each find something that we think would be a great opening slide, we share it and I compile it into one giant Google slide. So here's a fun one. Just asking teachers to pop into the chat box and ask, how are they doing today in dog scale? What number best represents them? Asking them to think about their dream staff room and to put something that we would like to see in it. Gives you some good information for coaching later too. When you thought coffee would help, but you're still annoyed by everyone, as a way to get teachers to talk about their day and move on. If you had to be trapped in a children's book for a month, which one would you choose? How do you take your coffee? What number are you? Pop it into the chat box. What's your quarantine house? And on and on and on. Every time we stumble on one of these, we share it, we compile it, and that way when it's time to plan learning sessions with teachers, we have a bank of go-to openers ready to go. And so now, if you didn't guess yet, this is your job. Your job is to start a collection of soft start opening slides. So you're just going to create a blank Google Slides presentation, or maybe it's PowerPoint if you're not a Google school. And here's what I recommend. I want you to create the presentation. I want you to put the title page in like you saw on mine. And then I want you to pin it to your taskbar. So here's what I mean. Once you have your opening slides ready, I want you to right-click on the tab and I want you to pin it. See how it automatically moved to the left side of the page here? This shows that this tab will never go away. You cannot accidentally X out of it. And even if you restarted your computer, it would be there waiting for you. Now, I recommend that you pin it because I want you to see it often. I want you to remember to add to it. And the reason we're doing it so early in our virtual coaching roadmap is if you get a head start on this now and you get used to collecting these, by the time you're ready to jump into more intense professional learning sessions with teachers, you'll have a collection ready to go. So that's your job for today. I hope I inspired you to think more about your opening moves and the way you welcome teachers into professional learning. And now your job is to start that collection of soft start opening slides. And of course, if you find one that you love, I do hope that you'll share it with me too, because we can add it to our larger collection.